All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming up this Sunday. I'm wrong. It's actually on a Saturday. Yes, a Saturday pay-per-view, which means tomorrow. Or if you're just watching on Saturday morning, it means today. WWE is doing Money in the Bank. Now, on this week's episode of the Wrestling Around Now podcast, we did not go through the whole card, but guess what? Brian H. Waters was in a mode for creating content. So you know what that means? I am going to do a quick prediction show coming up.
No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just going to keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think.
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Y'all know who I am, Brian H. Waters. But guess what? If you ain't following me, if this is your first time, the information is right there on the screen. Make sure you holler at your boy. Give me a follow. Make sure you also, let's throw up some other lower thirds so y'all know. Make sure you subscribe to the Wrestling Realm. Download the podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google. Yeah, we on iHeart. We on Pandora Podcast if you're still listening to those, so you can check it out there. And make sure if you haven't done so by now, follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. And guess what, y'all? We on Patreon. So make sure you go to our Patreon account and make sure you holler at us, for just $1. Just $1. You can subscribe to the Wrestling Realm and you can get exclusive content, meaning extra bonus shows. Whoa, that was an accident. Shows that you may not get just yet. You can get them right on the Patreon. So let's get right into it. Money in the Bank. It's one of my favorite pay-per-views, or guess what? We call them premium live events now. It's actually one of my favorites. So I decided, I'm going to hop on here. I went to the one in Philadelphia in 2013. That was the night Randy Orton won. And when he won, it was also Damian Sandow. Yeah, that was when they had two because you had the show split up. But Randy Orton won. Unfortunately, he would cash it in on my favorite of all time, Daniel Bryan. And that was the time I was really hoping Daniel Bryan would walk away with the WWE Championship. He beat John Cena, beat him clean. But unfortunately, Orton turned, and that's when they started calling Daniel Bryan a B-plus player. But you know what? In the end, it led to WrestleMania 30, where Daniel Bryan would have the WrestleMania. But let's get right into the card. Let's start with the Tag Team Championship match. We got the Usos defending the tag titles against the Street Profits. As much as I would love to see the Street Profits win right here, the bloodline is too strong, and I just don't see them losing just yet. I don't. So I'm going with the Usos to win this match. It's just like I said, they're too good right now. I think they're holding on to the titles. I think when they do lose them, I think probably everybody will lose them at once. I just don't see that happening. Sorry, I'm also getting more graphics that I forgot to add in here. But yeah, so that's where I'm going with that. Now, let's move on to the US Championship match. And that is why is it not showing? There we go. The US Championship match. You have Bobby Lashley challenging Theory. We gotta get used to calling him Theory. He's no longer Austin Theory. As much as I would like to see Lashley get gold again, I just think Theory wins this. Theory needs this. This is a big win for him over a former WWE champion. I don't think he do it clean, but I do think he walks away with the championship, retaining the championship. Regardless of what, he's holding that championship with class. I believe that Theory, as the U.S. champion, is kind of like using it when it should be a stepping stone. It's clearly that they're high on him. I mean, he's out with the boss, so clearly, he's already been called a future WWE champion. Now, we remember with McIntyre, but McIntyre didn't have the juice that Theory has. So I do think Theory is a future WWE champion, but I think for right now, he's going to hold on to the United States Championship. Now, it's one of the matches that I'm looking forward to the most, and that is Ronda Rousey defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Natalya. This feud has been spicy. It's been fun to watch. And as much as I would love to see Natalya win, I think Ronda wins. Now, you go on the Patreon, I talked about, I believe, Ronda and Shayna Baszler set up for a feud. So check out what I had to say about that. I did do a show last week where I did say I gave you 3 reasons why Natalya should beat Ronda, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Ronda Rousey retains and goes on, and I honestly think she feuds with Shayna Baszler. See on the Patreon why I said that. Then we go into the Raw Women's Championship. We got Bianca Belair taking on Carmella. I just think Bianca wins this. You know, it's that simple. I think Bianca holds on to the championship. This is just another person that she's going to defeat. I think things get interesting, and you see where her championship reign possibly goes in the Money in the Bank, whoever walks away with the briefcase. But I think right now, Bianca wins that. Speaking of the briefcase, let's go right into the women's briefcase. And this is who we have. We got Becky Lynch. We got Alexa Bliss. We have Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Lacey Evans, Asuka, and Shotzi. Now, this is very interesting. I think, you know, with Money in the Bank, you can always pick 2 to 3 people, right? There are some cases where it's automatically, you know who's going to win. But in this case, it's like 2 to 3 people. As you know, we say in spades, 2 in the possible, 3 in the possible. But I know there's people who are picking Becky Lynch to win this, especially considering what she had to do to get in it. This would be something else to add on her resume. She's been, I believe, she won the Royal Rumble. She won the I'm looking right at it. Raw Women's Championship, SmackDown Women's Championship. She didn't win the NXT title, but I think that she does walk away. No, I don't. This could be a possibility, but I'm sticking with my original pick, and that's Liv Morgan. I think this is it for Liv. I think in order for Liv to keep climbing, as somebody who they seem to be high on, I think she needs to win that briefcase, and I think she holds it for a while. I don't think she cashed in on Bianca. I think she probably cashes on the next person. You know, I said that I felt like Rhea Ripley would beat Bianca for the championship, and I thought they would have a feud. But I think that's the way where Liv Morgan, and I do think whoever wins it, though, I think they hold on to it for a while. The women have been cashing in quickly compared to Carmella, so I do think whoever wins this holds on to it for a while. And now for what more than likely will be the main event. You have Riddle, you have Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Omos, Sheamus, Sami Zayn, and a mystery person. Who could that mystery person be? Could it be Kevin Owens? Could it be Ezekiel? Could it be Elias? Could it be, it ain't gonna be Cody. But in the end, I think Seth Rollins, I think everything is set up for Seth Rollins to win this. I think he wins the Money in the Bank match. We already know the main event for SummerSlam is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. Brock's going to attempt to get that WWE undisputed Universal Championship. But I'm interested to know with this briefcase, is it for both titles or is just one? That is the interesting part. But I think Seth Rollins wins this. I could see him cashing in. Seth Rollins has taken a lot of losses. He's taken a lot of losses. But I think right now with his character, you can imagine the laughs that he will do with this briefcase. So in the end, I think Seth Rollins wins this. I think maybe we have a cash in, you know, but who knows? And then, you know, there's just to put this out there, Drew McIntyre could win and say this is when I'm cashing in at Clash at the Castle. Who knows? But on record, Brian H. Waters' pick is Seth freaking Rollins. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Just some quick Royal Rumble thoughts. This will go on all platforms, so it's free. But make sure you check out the Patreon. Like I said, only $1. You can get bonus shows. Now, there are tiers, $5 tiers, $10 tiers, $20. Go in there, you'll see. But for those who are our Patreon patrons, we appreciate you. We thank you. You don't have to do this, but the fact that you support this show means a lot to me, the real Dwayne Allen, and Brother Hugh. So make sure you stay tuned to the Wrestling Realm channels. Hit the subscribe button. So long, everybody.
The creative process seems to be the topic of choice in professional wrestling. With that being said, the Wrestling Realm would like you to know that as far as the creative process is concerned, we would never do anything to disrespect or disregard each other's ideas when it comes out to putting the best product for the Wrestling Realm.
Mr. Brian Waters.
Houston, we have a problem.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell so you get notified every time the Wrestling Realm posts new